Kia ora, good morning. I woke up a little bit ago and checking on the animals and that, and I can't get back to sleep because I'm thinking. I mean, not overthinking, like I'm getting myself ready for what's coming. And because like I want to try and get everything up and running within the next year and a bit. I want to be able to open the doors on the start of October, so that we've got all month to celebrate Halloween. Um, so like I'm going over things in my head, and I started thinking about the Dear Satan clause, my animated movie, The Dear Satan clause. I've sort of been coming up with lyrics for the big cabaret number that Satan does. It's sort of a bit cabaret, it's a bit sort of jazz, it's, a bit sort of funky, and I'm just, every now and then I'll come up with lyrics, and because everything that you hear and see, everything we create is all based on heightened senses, heightening your sensory field, tuning you in, tuning you up. So it's all to do with sound and sight and taste and touch and, senses, your senses. So with people who have a higher sensory depth, perception or depth of field when it comes to their imagination or the way that they think or communicate with the universe or whatever, you need to be able to hit the right note with them. Everything has to be pitch perfect. So the voices of all my characters, when I hear them in my head, it can take me a long time to find the perfect personality, the perfect voice, the perfect mannerism, because the way they're going to move across the screen in the video game, or the way that they talk, the way that they sing, the way that they conduct themselves, is going to affect the mood of the person who's watching them or listening to them, because it's how I'm going to be using biorhythmics to calm the mind and soothe the soul of the people out there, the children especially, who feel like they're the ones who have been the glitch in the matrix, when it's the other way round. They're the binary code and society is the glitch. They're the whole program. They're the star in the sky. And they think they're the pitch black when they're not, they're the star. It's just people have been looking in the wrong direction. People have been seeing them wrong. So, this whole thing with the Dear Satan clause is all because there is no Dear Satan clause in the rules of the universe that Satan wrote. Satan writes all the laws of what we must adhere to in order to avoid going to the dark place. And then he hands them to God. He makes up the naughty list and he hands it to Santa and, all that sort of thing. Or he used to, before Satan and Santa had a falling out. When they were at college together, at university together, they had a falling out and they haven't spoken since. So who I get to do his voice is really important. And I just keep thinking he needs to be Latin American. I can't hear him with any other accent other than Latin American. I had originally said I'd gone to Nayib Bukele, the president of El Salvador, and said to him, why don't you do the voice of him? You'd be brilliant. He even looks like how the real Satan would look in human form. I mean, he looks like Ryu, with the spiky black hair and blah, blah, blah. Clean shaven and all that with the sharp features. But when he when he puts his Santa ensemble on, when he finally gets the costume made and he puts his ensemble on and he's strutting to his sleigh to go and deliver the presents to little Erin, and he's got the beard and everything, his hair's all swished back because he's like the sleek version of Santa. Satan wouldn't be caught dead having a bushy white beard like Santa, but his beard would be like immaculately coiffured and, just like no Bukele. Well, I just think he would be perfect to do the voice of Satan, unless if he could sing. I wonder if he could. Because I was putting lyrics together. I put the me in mean. So, yeah, putting the lyrics together. Because I've got to make sure everything's, like, I have to sit with composers and musicians and get this out of me. It has to be me that writes the lyrics. No one else can write the lyrics. I can get help and I can, people can give me suggestions, but every word that gets put in those lyrics for that and Vanta Black, when it comes to the songs, I have to write every word, which is fine for me because it gives me something to do on the days when I have to look after my stomach, I can write anywhere. I can write from home. All I need is a dictaphone. If I can just have a dictaphone that I can just press and write notes into. I know it's a bit old-fashioned, but it works for me. I'd even actually feel more comfortable using an electric typewriter than a computer. It's just the computer's like easier at getting rid of the mistakes and that, but I want to, I'll have my laptop. I really want a tablet, but I think I want a desktop computer with a keyboard as well. I think I'll probably write most of my books sitting at the desk. There's just something more familiar with me with clickety-clack keyboards. It feels more comfortable to my writing process. Everyone has their process. Laptops, I've written everything on my laptops, but I know personally, I think I would be more comfortable sitting with a clackety keyboard, one that you plug in, but like a clackety old style one, or like an electric typewriter. I like the sound of the heavy clackety keys, and I type quite fast too. It's just making mistakes that would be blah. Because at least with the computer it picks up on your grammatical errors and all of that quicker. But anyway, I think you can buy keyboards for your desktops and that are old school clickety clack. So yeah, I can't wait to sit down and just be able to go somewhere quiet and get these stories and all that written out. Because basically, as soon as I land where it is that I'm to go, I want to get the ball rolling like immediately. So I need to be able to hand the scripts and the stories and the game lines and the concept stories and concept art and vision boards and all of that to everyone and say, now go and do it. By the time we open for Halloween next year, by October next year, open the gates on the 1st of October, we should have at least the Dear Satan clause, some of it made, and the Quantum Menace video game, maybe a couple of the, animated shows. We should definitely have the streaming service, getting all programmed, and that was what my best friend Jose was supposed to do. He was supposed to design the, do the programming, all of that, to design the, for my streaming service. So, yeah, the system support engineer, he was going to do all of that, like get the team together and write it all up and stuff using Linux and that. So, yeah, so it's kind of like I'm tying up all the little loose ends in my head so that I know who to hand what. Oh, and it just got me thinking about the Dear Satan clause and coming up with lyrics to add to the song, and then thinking about his voice. And I just think he has to be Hispanic. I think he has to be like Latin American. What accent? Having said that, though, I am open to other voice actors if they think they can put on a good Satan, as long as he matches the Satan in my head, and he's very flamboyant. He's like a teenage girl packing straps, having epic meltdowns. Because if you look at him being represented as Capricorn, his feminine side is Cancer. So, they can be quite emotional. They can have quite, very sort of hormonal teenage girl epic meltdowns, even if they're boys. And, you know, the perfectionists, they like to be the master of what it is they're good at. They like to be the best leader, the best this, the best that. They like to master what it is that they are interested in. They like to have that kind of power and presence when they walk into a room, to know that they have that skill and blah, blah, blah. It's not, I mean, it's a little bit pride and ego, but it's not so much to show off, to say, like, look at how great I am. It's more like, look what I've achieved. Look what look what I did. Like, they're proud of themselves, sort of thing. That's Capricorn. That's Satan. He can't deviate from it because he punishes the sinners to protect the pure and innocent. He can't get a single thing wrong, because if he judges the wrong person to be guilty when they're innocent, that's going to wipe out the whole system within religion between good and bad. So there's a lot of pressure on Satan to get it right, and he did not put in what happens if a kid accidentally writes to Satan instead of Santa. So he has this epic meltdown. So whoever does his voice needs to be able to be quite dramatic and theatrical, and be okay with kind of like taking the piss out of themselves a little. Like if they had to act a bit camp or a bit feminine, because they're taking the piss out of their sister or their wife or something like that. You know how a guy can switch like that? He kind of needs to be like that, mixed with James Woods. Hades in Hercules, you know, the Disney Hercules. Remember, James Wood does Hades. He needs to be able to switch into that with the sarcasm and the fire and the, because you know we are gonna show that side of Satan in the movie in the way where people watching it know that this is a lesson as to why you don't ever want to meet Satan, but said in a way that it's not scary or intimidating. Like, it's a gentle, easy lesson, or remind me not to do anything to hurt anyone when I grow up, sort of thing, you know. But it's done in a, but it's focusing more on, but this is why you need to respect him, because look at all that he does for the pure and innocent, because he works with God. He's not the enemy of God. He's God's backup plan for what happens if people disobey God, that sort of thing. But it's not even focusing on any of that in the movie. It's just focusing on this relationship that he has with this little girl to fulfill his legal contractual obligation to deliver her presents, because she accidentally um, put the A's in the wrong place. So, so he's got this big whole number, and whoever does his voice needs to be able to be all like flamboyant and theatrical and command presence, and then switch to show his "this is why you don't want to mess with me" kind of, you know, when that rage comes out, needs to be able to switch on a dime like that, show that authority, um, take the piss out of themselves, and be able to like let their hair down and sing a cabaret, like do a solo number, and maybe even on stage in front of kids, you know, to do like live performances. I'd love to do, you know, like a concert where all the actors in that who sung the songs to our movies and all of that would you know, put on like an outdoor concert for the kids, so they can hear all their favourite songs from the movies. So yeah, this song that I'm writing, it's my everything, but I have to get it just right, because he does have an incredible sense of humour. And all I kept thinking when I was starting to perfect it was Nayib Bukele. He's a Leo. I mean, Leo, come on. They should be, they would be a better representation of Satan than Capricorn. Capricorn definitely for the personality, but Leo for the looks, for the way they carry themselves, absolutely. It is all about the finery and how they look and how people see them. And I mean, they rule pride. They are the rulers of pride. Leo the lion. So, yeah, it's just. He literally got too close to comfort with Lucifer. You can't make it up. But anyway, the Dear Satan clause. One of the things that I'm going to do, wherever it is, that, and I've said this before, I've been saying it for years, I want to get people out of retirement who used to work in the entertainment industry, or, you know, the roadies, you know, used to putting up stages and marquees and, you know, all that sort of thing. People that worked in radio, people that worked in like costume design for TV and movies, and um, writers, artists, directors, producers, cameramen, sound editing, especially if they have experience in hand-drawn animation and stop motion. Yeah, like set design and all of that sort of stuff. For the ones that still know they've got something left in them, encourage them to come out of retirement, and then they'll have their retirement and a wage. Just because when we start putting heads in beds at Pure Waters, the kids' camp, the ones that would be coming to learn all of these skills while they're making movies like the Dear Satan Claus and stuff like that, like Quantum Menace and Vanderblack and all of it, their mentors, I want them to be experienced and have the wisdom of the industry to pass down to them, but then they're at that age where they're relaxed about it. So they're mentors. It was actually Chris that said to me, don't call them big brothers and sisters. He said, call us mentors. And I thought, yeah, I like that. Because he was originally supposed to be the art director. He was going to be the one that was in charge of employing all my staff. But he was just going to go and do it off in his camper van and just sort of make sure that I didn't hire dicks, and then it turns out he was the dick. So that's funny for two reasons, but I won't go into that here because it's a kids channel. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, so I want to get the best in the industry to come out to us and be mentors. So the surrounding town is going to have to be prepared to take the overspill for like rental properties and hotels and things like that, because I plan on bringing a lot in for tourism, education, tourism, spiritual science, all of it. I cover all those categories: technology, innovation, entrepreneurial, religion. I cover all of them, all of the visa categories, just in my one business. So I can't wait to see who I end up getting to be his voice. And I am up to, if anyone can think they can do a good voice for Satan, knowing, when they read his character description and stuff like that, I'm up for it. But I just keep thinking that he needs to have. I've been working on this character with my niece. It was Armando, but it's Alejandro now. Alejandro D'Angelo. And he's very suave and smooth, and he's kind of Satan if Satan was to turn on the charm, but kind of cheesier, sort of a bit sleazier, kind of a bit more on the sleazy side. Satan would never be sleazy. Satan is charming AF, as Flip. He is as charming as Flip. He would be. So I'm just having a drink. Yeah. He would have girls swooning without even having to raise an eyelash. So he would be the opposite of that. But it's kind of as well, Satan from South Park. You know how he's a bit lovable, how you just kind of love him, and he has emotions and feelings, and he likes to wear his apron and, like have cocktail parties and things like that. That's him. Satan is a hedonist. So he's all about like the fine wines and fine dining and his clothes being immaculate and all of that, because he likes to. A hedonist is somebody who lives for the moment and has the best and enjoys the best now while they're living. Like live it up now and have the best now, sort of thing. Like don't wait to have all the riches of heaven when you die. Like have it now. That's Satan. So yeah, so there's nothing sleazy about him. He's very charming. He's very articulate. He speaks very well. He has a very commanding presence, and he's respected and fed in equal measure. but he's also very sort of charming and almost southern, like a southern belle. So you can imagine like a southern belle packing a tantrum sort of thing. But he's kind of like that. So whoever can pull his voice off and pull his mannerisms off, he's going to end up creating an icon. People are going to love him. He's a lovable character. He's so funny. Like James Woods, the way James Woods was with Hades, he was lovable. He was funny. He would have hated to, Hades would have hated to hear that he was lovable, but he was lovable. He's a memorable character. Everybody remembers Hades and Hercules out of any other character other than maybe Mercury. So, I'm trying to create memorable characters. I need to create memorable characters that can stand the test of time because I want my legacy to live on. I want to always be making money off what it is I've created so that the kids are always taken care of. I don't want it to end when I die. I don't want it to end when my kids die. I don't want it to end when my grandkids die, just like Disney. But without the seedy and the trafficking and quite the opposite, actually. The way it's supposed to be when it comes to family entertainment. Except at Christmas time, I'm telling, sorry, not Christmas, blah, 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 take that back, Halloween. Except at Halloween. Come Halloween, when you walk through the gates of my castle, of my kingdom walls, all bets are off. Don't bring your kids if you don't want them to get scared, or put them over at the Babysitters Club, where their Halloween will be fairly mild. But if you're coming to our haunted house or coming to our Halloween festivals and that, don't think it's all going to be, cotton candy and pumpkin patches and no. I want to be the queen of Scream. I want to be the queen of Halloween and the queen of Christmas. When it comes to tourism, I want people coming from all over the world to engage in our Halloween festival, which will be all month, and our Christmas festival, which will be all month. So just when you come to us for Halloween, no two Halloweens will be the same. We're going to have, fairs and stalls and all that sort of thing. But when it comes to what we're going to be offering you in terms of scaring you, if your kids are of a certain age where they're not going to be able to handle it, then you're better off putting them in the Babysitters Club, where it's more mild and sedate, kind of typical average kid stuff. But for the adults and everybody else, our haunted houses, I want them to be world famous. Like my son and I already came up with 2 really incredible years, and a third one which we would only be able to pull off one time and one time only. Unlike the other, the haunted house event, we can do that all month. But I'm just grappling with the morals and ethics of it to decide whether it's something we would want to go ahead, because it would require getting everybody involved, and I mean everybody. So, but it might be a bit much to pull off. So, yeah, I've got my Halloween sorted, man, and I can't wait to see what we choose to, because what I want to do with the haunted house is I want to buy a house that's already been built, and then just pull it down and move it and then rebuild it on my property. But it has to look perfect. It has to have that kind of Herman Munster's house sort of Addams Family vibe to it. Even if I have to get it from like Transylvania or somewhere, I don't know, but I've got to find the perfect haunted house. But I'm not allowed to chop any trees down for the wood. I have to use all recycled wood. So I will be um, taking a lot of buildings and stuff off people's hands. You know, people that buy properties and they're going to tear their houses down. I'll just go to them and say, like, let us do it for you for free. If you let us have the building, we'll take it away for free. I'm going to be so cheeky like that because I'm not allowed to. I'm not allowed to take from the planet to build it. I was given the challenge of I have to do everything using reclaimed materials. So, which is fine. I've completely, it's not a problem. Which is why it's such a brilliant idea to buy a castle because it's already there. It's all half done. I only need to build a couple of structures on the property, and yeah, like I said, we just use recycled materials for like the kids' camp and all of that. Absolutely. So it's quite exciting. So yeah, so I'm putting the finishing touches on this Dear Satan Claus number, and I just keep thinking about who's going to do his voice. It's just a shame. Anyway, the Dear Satan Claus, the Dear Satan Claus. There's this whole adventure he has to go on, which I'm not going to go into now. Don't want to give anything away, but I'm quite proud of myself. I think this is going to be probably my favourite movie that we're ever going to make. And I was really looking forward to seeing Message in a Bottle being made, which is what I had originally called The Harvest. I can't wait to see that being made, but I'm really looking forward to seeing the Dear Satan Claus, which is going to be done in those chunky style graphics like Wreck-It Ralph or Operation Prep and Landing. You know, those bright, chunky sort of, yeah, childlike sort of cartoonish style sort of graphics. Bright, and yeah, the Dear Satan Claus is going to be done in those style graphics. So I want to get these people out of retirement that have maybe had enough time sitting doing nothing, or they know they've still got a lot to give, or they want to make a difference, leave a legacy before they go, for the sake of the children. Yeah, and then I'll start headhunting ones from other companies that I know are around in games and all of that. There's a few that my ex has worked with that I wouldn't mind to chory for myself if I can make a good enough offer. Anyway, I'm going to go, and I'm going to make myself a coffee actually. The animals are going to start getting ready to go to bed soon, and I want to sit and enjoy them and listen to the birds come up. They should be kicking off in about half an hour, maybe about 20 minutes. Start hearing the chirping. So, I'm going to go. I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Mwah.